Hello everybody, welcome back to another new player's guide. Today we're going to talk about toolboxes. So there are 6 different types of toolboxes. They can be used for sabotaging hooks or repairing generators. The biggest difference between them is of course the number of charges they provide, the speed that they provide for those actions, and some are better at repairing repairing generators, and others are better at sabotaging. So I'm going to go over all those as well as the add-ons. Let's start with the worn out tools. So this is the brown one, you're going to get 1,000,000 of them. This has 16 charges, and remember, a charge is how the game measures progression. So a generator is 80 charges, this takes up about 16 charges, but the way it works out is this saves you 5.33 seconds. If you are alone repairing a generator with no other speed add-ons or progression penalties from the killer, for example. Just purely an 80-second generator, if you use this for part of it, you're going to save a little over 5 seconds. This can be used for sabotaging hooks as well. I think you get like 2... You don't quite get 3 hook sabos out of it. You get about 2, so you do need to bring extra scraps or something to get 3 full hook sabos, but you do get a little bit of something. Then we go to the yellow toolbox. This, let me double check, moderately increases. Yes. Okay, so as far as how fast you get to repair a generator, it's about the same speed as, it is the exact same speed as the brown one, but with a few more charges, you actually end up going at saving 6.67 seconds on your repair time. So a little more than a second extra for those 4 extra charges. But you do sabo slightly faster if you bring this toolbox with you. So it's better for both of those actions depending on what you prefer to do. The mechanics toolbox goes back down to 16 charges, but those 16 charges are considerably faster. For this one, you save about 6.86 seconds off of your total repair time. If you're just sitting alone repairing a generator. So it does save you a little bit of time. It's a little bit equivalent to this. It's just 2 charges in faster. So you save a fraction of a second, depending on which one of these you bring. So there's not really a huge difference between the 2 of them, other than sabotage speed. So if you want a toolbox that can do both, bring the yellow. If you only care about repairing, either one will work. You do not want to use the mechanics toolbox for sabotaging, and that's because of the very last bullet, where it decreases sabotage speed. So sabotaging takes 2 seconds around there. This is going to make that a little bit longer, which means that normally you can take a hit and go sabo the hook and get away before the, like, dead hard, or run away sometimes even before the killer can try to hit you again because they're still on cooldown. This makes it so they can definitely hit you again if you're right there in front of their face. So I would not sabo with this ever. Another toolbox I would never use to sabotage is the commodious toolbox. This and that is because this is the best toolbox to bring if you are wanting to repair generators as quick as possible. 32 charges, moderately increases the speed. It doesn't slow you down for sabotaging or anything like that, but that kind of speed, it saves you almost 11 seconds off of a generator. So normally you're sitting there for 80 seconds, right? It's gonna take that down to below 70 seconds. And that's just normal. If you get any sort of anything to slow that down or increase it, like obviously that'll change, but 70 seconds on generator is very fast. Especially considering you could get a teammate that can run the killer for upwards of a minute. You're going to easily finish a generator with this. Moving on is the engineer's toolbox. This is one that you absolutely never, ever, ever want to bring for hook sabo. If you ever have to sabotage a toolbox, like, you might be able to get away with a sneaky play with the mechanics toolbox, but never even try it with engineers. Just don't even bother with this one. The closed purple one. Don't ever do it. You can use it on repairing. Obviously, this tremendously increases the repair speed. So you get those 16 charges done very, very fast. And that shaves off 8 seconds of your total repair time. So about a tenth of the time that you spend on the generator, gone very, very quickly. So it is good in that aspect. But yeah, the moderately decreases sabotage speed. It's gonna take you like 3.5 seconds to sabo a hook. Don't do it. Then we have Alex's toolbox. Unlike the other toolboxes, where you can either you want to use them to repair a generator, or you can kind of get away with it because it's whatever. Don't. I mean, you could. 24 charges will and slightly increased repair speed. You save like 2 to 3 seconds with your repair speed. Like, it's a little bit of something if you're on your last gen, if you're in a pinch. I'm not saying don't use it in those scenarios, but where this item really shines is with sabotage speed. Considerably increases sabotage speed. You can sabo a hook within a second. Sabo builds are my favorite to run. If you guys ever want to see a video of one, I would love to do that. But if you want to do a sabo build, Alex's toolbox is where it's at. That is what you want. It does not excel as much at repairing as the others do. Now let's talk about the add-ons. So there aren't many add-ons for Toolbox, which makes this pretty simple. You either have hook add-ons or repair add-ons. And I'm going to actually start at the back end. So adding on scraps adds 8 charges. So at a base, this is going to give you an extra like 2.5 seconds to what you're repairing about. So it adds a couple of seconds, the extra scraps. If you're running a sabo, if you add these 8, I then have 32 charges that I can use for saboing. I can be a really big thorn in the killer's side with something like that. Because yeah, the scraps can be added to either, it just in general gives you more charges, and you can use those charges for sabotaging or for repairing, whatever build you want to do. Likewise, the wire spool adds a whole 12 charges. I don't know the math for that one. I'm sorry. I don't know how many seconds that shaves off, but I do know that if you want really, really good repair speed, this commodious toolbox with a brand new part and either the wire spool to extend the toolbox or socket swivels to make it faster is awesome. I feel like, for my experience, the wire spool takes a little bit longer, but don't quote me on that one. Either way, again, this just adds charges, so if you want those charges to go towards sabotaging, do it. If you want them to go towards repairs, do that. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and talk about the socket swivels. So socket swivels and clean rag both increase repair speed. So this just helps you kind of shave off another second or two. The clean rag really doesn't impact it a lot. However, the socket swivels with the moderately increases actually does make that a little bit faster. So if I don't ever have a wire spool, I actually do chuck this on with the brand new part. You'll go flying. I'll get like half a gen done before this even runs out. It's nasty together. But that is an option for you. And then, let's see, this is the second to last. I'll talk about the brand new part in a second in more detail, but spring clamp reduces the noise while you're repairing by 8 meters. If you miss a skill check, this is not going to suppress it. The killer is still notified unless you're running the perk technician. But overall, this does make it so it's quieter while you're working on a generator. So a lot of times, if you're, especially like on indoor maps or someplace like Batham or Haddonfield, the killer might just like walk near a generator and listen to see if they can hear anyone repairing it before they bother going inside of the room or the building. This makes it much harder to hear someone is repairing that generator. So that is pretty cool. However, it does have the caveat of it's pointless if someone else is on the generator with you. And it only lasts while your toolbox has charges. So if somebody tries to jump on the generator with you while you're trying to get away with this add-on, it's not gonna matter much at all. Then there's the brand new part. So, for the brand new part, when you go up to a generator, instead of repair with toolbox, you'll have the option install brand new part. When you do this, within 5 seconds of you repairing the generator, you get instantly 15% progress, which is insanely fast and ridiculous. You also will get 2 difficult skill checks. These are just like if the killer has oppression or overcharge, or if you have decisive strike, it's a similar skill check to those. If you, each one that you hit, you get an extra 5% repair progress. So you, in 5 seconds, can finish 25% of a generator, which is gnarly. The add-on is consumed after use, unfortunately. So once you install it, it is gone. What I highly recommend doing is before you use this, test if the killer has ruin. Because the last thing you want to do is install your brand new part, get halfway through a generator, and then the killer shows up, chases you off, and as you're running around, all of that progress is lost. Because that stinks. Under any other circumstances, if they don't have ruin, or if they do have pop and you still have this, you can go in and completely reverse their pop within seconds. It's one of the absolute strongest add-ons in the entire game. For Survivor, I would say it is the strongest add-on because the quicker you get gens done, the quicker you get out, right? Now let's talk about sabotage add-ons, which are these 4 in the top row here. Very straightforward. Hacksaw and cutting wire will increase your sabotage speed. Cutting wire on its own's not super impactful. Hacksaw on its own is pretty strong. I like, honestly, not gonna lie, I love. It's like a half-second sabotage. It's so disgustingly fast. I'll put the speed add-ons on top of the Alex's toolbox, which is already considerably, and I'm pretty sure this bumps up to like tremendously fast, if not more. And then I also put Spine Chill. Oh gosh, I love this build. So Spine Chill gives you a 10% buff to sabotaging when the killer's looking at you, which if you're sabotaging a hook right in front of their face while they're carrying someone, of course they're looking at you. I literally within half a second sabotage hooks and just take off running. It's disgusting. It should be illegal. It's so fast. You don't have Alex's toolbox. If you just have like the yellow or the brown toolbox, for example. This hacksaw, just adding that to it, still makes it incredibly fast, which is awesome. If you want to be sneaky with your sabotages, you can put protective gloves on. So normally, just as a heads up, because I know there are tome challenges that tell you to go sabotage a bunch of hooks. You sometimes get dailies that say sabotage 4 hooks. Killers get notified when you sabotage a hook. It's a loud noise notification, the same thing that they get if you miss a skill check on a generator. If you put on the protective gloves add-on, they do not get notified that you've sabotaged a hook. So if you're trying to do one of those challenges, I highly recommend what I use for those challenges every single time is actually no, I do this. I do the yellow toolbox with scraps and gloves, and I run around and I just get 4 hooks real fast. And then you can get like a little bit more than 4, I think. So usually I'll just take whatever remaining scraps are left over and put them into a generator and save myself a second. And then lastly, the grip wrench. So when you sabotage a hook, it takes a little bit for it to respawn. It's like 15-ish seconds or so. This adds an extra 15 seconds for that hook to spawn. So normally, if you sabotage a hook, killer has 2 options. If they have not been carrying the survivor for very long and they see a hook that is nearby, they could try to go for that hook as well to save the person or to try to get the person on hook. Or if they've already been carrying the person for a few seconds, or if they don't see a hook nearby, they have to put the person down to slug them. My experience is they'll usually put the person down and go chase whoever's sabotaged because they get really frustrated by it. It's fun. Um, so that's a thing. Um, while that person is down, the killer can't just pick them right back up and put them on the hook. They do have to wait for the hook to respawn. So in that time, if the killer's distracted, it gives people time to run in and save that person, or if they have a breakable, maybe they can pick themselves up. Um, it just, or they can crawl away and get away from that hook before it respawns. So it just is a way to buy time. It's not ideal. More often than not, if you're playing in solo queue, they're just gonna lie there, and then the killer's gonna come back when the hook respawns and put them right back on. Nobody's gonna come save them. So this is better if you're with friends and you can coordinate. But otherwise, these speed add-ons are great for. I can go on and on about Sabo builds. Honestly, they're great. But I feel like I've been recording long enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next, I am going to be talking about keys and mats for the next 2 episodes. Those should be pretty quick. I know there's a lot more involved with medkits and toolboxes. That's why these episodes took a little bit longer. But thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any other questions or suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comments. And I will hopefully see you all in the fog. Bye!